Welcome to MMAOddsbreaker.com. I'm Frank Trigg. This week on the hotline, we got Rich Clementi, who, like every other fighter my age, retires and unretires and trains and then coaches everybody, and then he gets mad when he loses and he's back in it again. And here we are, Rich. We're back in it again. Like, are we ever going to get out of this sport?
Right.
Are we ever going to get out of this thing? Are we ever just going to leave it alone? Or are we just keep trying to find ways to stay in?
No, that's exactly right. Mine was a little bit more serious than that, though. I was actually diagnosed with severe sleep apnea, man. I've been really fighting certain issues for like almost 3-4 years now, man. And it was kind of just an accumulation of problems. I mean, my cortisol levels were off, testosterone, HGH, every single thing you could think of. And of course, all these doctors are treating me for symptoms instead of what the problem was. And then, believe it or not, I just went to this old rheumatologist who was like, he's like, man, I just think your body's not repairing itself. All my joints, they thought I had gout in my feet. I mean, my body was just a wreck. And then, good enough, I did a sleep study and severe sleep apnea, man. Like during my sleep test, I woke up 150 times through the night, and then I stopped breathing the average about 36 times an hour, man. So what's kind of crazy, the next day, once I got put on my CPAP machine, I started seeing instant physical results. I mean, it was unbelievable. So, it would be an injustice for me. I mean, who even knows how long I've been running on flat tires for? So, just really excited. Great training camp, feeling great now. I mean, it's such a godsend that I have the ability to actually feel like I'm supposed to feel right now. So very excited about this.
Can you explain what a CPAP machine is that for the sleep apnea, what you got to do with it and how you got to use it every night?
Yeah, basically, my throat, I guess maybe from wrestling for almost all my life now, it seems. But basically, when I go into REM sleep, REM is when all your muscles, your body releases a chemical that actually relaxes all your muscles, and that's how they repair themselves at night. Well, it would also relax my throat muscles, and when that would happen, my airway would close, and then I would choke, and then I would wake up out of REM sleep. So I would never go into the repair sleep that your body needs. Basically, what a CPAP machine is, it's a positive airflow machine. It's these tubes that I stick up my nose with this big head thing on at night, and it just kind of keeps positive air pressure in my throat all night long, so that way it keeps that from being able to happen.
And you say you saw immediate physical results. How has it changed other things though? Like a lot less. Explain now how training camp is different now, as opposed to when it was before.
I mean, to be honest, before I'd have been better just playing damn video games and going in the fight all straight skill set. I mean, I'm doing training camps, and you do training camps to come up to an increase like this, in performance, when really I was breaking my body down and then it wasn't repairing. So I was actually doing more damage doing these intense training camps than probably not training at all. So, but talking about the physical training, and I'm a big advocate about people like that I think might have symptoms with it, and I do a lot of speaking about it and talk about sleep apnea. Basically, the first week that I was on the CPAP machine, I was going to the bathroom like 5 or 6 times before 12 o'clock, like almost like I was doing a colon cleanse. I mean, my body was just going to the bathroom all the time. And then like that was the first physical change that I was like, wow, look at this. And then basically around week 2, I literally was like waking up like I was like 18 years old, like I was on Extends or something. Not that I have a problem in that department at all. But I mean, it was ridiculous. I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm like, look at this. I mean, my wife was hating me a little bit. But, so, and then, like around week 4, I started waking up and actually stretching in the morning, and my body was releasing and relaxed, where before I'd wake up and I felt like I was hit by a truck. And really just a whole bunch of crazy stuff, man. Like my whole time, I own a CrossFit gym as well. And I don't do a lot of the CrossFit activities because I don't have range of motion in my shoulders and stuff. Just they always have been very toxic, like my ankles, my knees, my hips, my shoulders. And, 3 weeks ago, I literally just walk up to the rings and I do a muscle up like I've been doing them my whole life. And then I sit there and do 5 of them. But I've never been able to do them before because my shoulders hurt so bad. So, just that's what I mean by the type of just performance things that have just instantly kind of came, And then I add a really good training camp. I've been training with Alan Belcher, getting ready for this fight. He's in Abu Dhabi coming up. So, he's training hard right now too. And all the guys I'm training with, 220, 215, and I'm pushing them like I'm a young buck. So everything's in place like it should be. And to be honest, that's why I retired back then, because it was an injustice to myself, and not only myself, but like I didn't want my son to see me like as a competitor. Everything's still there, that never goes. I could be 80 years old and I'll be kicking the checkerboard over if I'm losing, but I didn't want my son to see me not be able to perform just because my body couldn't do it, even though my mind was there. So the fact that my body is feeling great now, I mean, I cannot not do it.
How much different now is your technique and your style now because you've been able to actually train right and not just have that generalized knowledgeable skill set, but you've had to put more reps in and what have you?
Well, my speed is really the thing that's before everything was just so tight, and my flexibility really suffered. So it really hindered a lot of different things I did. I mean, martial arts is a lot about flexibility, and if you don't have movement rhythm, the way your body moves, and how it torques, and creating power and stuff like that. I mean, it just slows you. It's like walking around with anchors on, So the fact that I'm very, very fast right now is exciting. That's the number one thing people are training with me. They're like, I mean, my strength's always been there. I'm always been a strong guy, especially for the 55 weight class. But the fact that like I'm very, very fast right now, so that's exciting as well.
Break down Ricardo Triloni, your competitive fight you have here on September 27th. Because obviously now for him, he can't even look at any kind of tape in the last 5 years and figure out how you're going to be when you come out and fight. Because you're completely different now. You've completely changed. You're faster. Same kind of technique, but it's going to be faster, stronger, getting to that same space. What do you see when you're looking at Ricardo? Like, what do you see coming on this guy?
One thing about me, I've always respected my guys, and he's a talented individual. I mean, I look at it like this. My son all the time, he'll be like, "Hey, Daddy, is he good?" I'm like, "You're watching him on friggin' TV, aren't you?" I'm like, "There's a reason he's there for a reason, So, I do respect his skill set. He trains out of a Luta Libre association in Brazil, who I'm very good friends with, Marcelo Brigadeiro. So, I know he's going to have the skills to pay the bills. So, my thing is just I'm looking to come in super mean, super fast, and just very, very aggressive. And people haven't. That's what I've trained for this training camp, and I don't even mind if he knows it. I want him to know that. I want him to think about what's going to be in store. So, feeling really, really good. And like I said, everybody I'm training with are straight bulldogs right now. I mean, Alan's walking around at like 240. So he's a moose. And anybody that know Alan's jiu-jitsu skill set, he's right up there as well too. And his stand-ups bar none. So. I feel very confident with my training camp, and like I said, trained with really big guys. So I'm just prepared all the way around. The hardest part is I was like, man, I do not miss the weight cut at all. It's like I really like eating. So, at the end of the day, that's probably been the hardest thing for me is this weight cut, because I did get up to about probably almost like 215, and before I got diagnosed with sleep apnea, I mean, I was actually in a pretty bad spot. So it was crazy when I got diagnosed. I was literally like jumping around the doctor's office, and he's like, "Man, I've never seen anybody so excited to be diagnosed." And I was like, if you only understood. I mean, if some quack doctor told me to stand on my head for 30 minutes a day because it made me feel better, I was doing everything: yoga, non-inflammatory diets. I mean, you name it. The hindsight of that is I learned a lot. Like, I learned a lot about the body. I learned a lot about my own body. I learned a lot about different, aspects of health and sports performance, because I searched for hard in a long time. So, it did increase my knowledge in those departments. But, like I said, just happy, man. It's just cool to do. I remember like 3 weeks ago, I had this awesome training session, and I came out and I was whistling, and I looked over at one of my buddies training with me. I said, "You know what?" I said, "I can't tell you the last time I was in the middle of a training camp and I was like whistling walking out the door. Like, that just didn't happen for me, So that's just a small example of kind of, how exciting this has been for me.
Great work, Rich. I'm really excited then to see the new you come out here on September 27th against Ricardo Triloni. It's going to be an interesting matchup. You're 45 and 22. He's 15 and 4. So obviously the experience level goes your way. So you've been in the heat of battle against some of the top names in the weight class for years, and now all of a sudden you're on a resurgence, trying to work your way back up to the top end of it. It's going to be fun. How's your experience so far with Bellator? This is your fourth fight with them, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Bellator. I mean, they're not up to, the pay scale of the UFC yet with the guys and stuff like that, but they treat their guys really well. I do like the tournament format as well. I mean, because it's honest, it's not no like, oh, we like this guy a little bit more. Maybe his numbers are a little bit higher as far as pay-per-view, so we're gonna slip him in a spot instead. It's there's a lot of honesty to the tournament format. So as a fan. I enjoy that as well. Plus, too, they have a vast amount of difference in styles in the guys. They necessarily don't just promote kind of one style of fight. Just a stand up and bang. Like if a guy's are really like look at Ben Askren, a lot of people might not be a fan of him, but he's had a lot of success in Bellator, and they're like, hey, if that's his style and he's good at it, like. And I love mixed martial arts. If you're a good wrestler, like that's what I want to see. I don't want to see you sit there and try to throw sloppy punches. I want to see some dynamic wrestling, and the same thing for strikers and stuff like that. So, I do like the Bellator format, and at the end of the day, I'm just so grateful that I get to fight again. It was really cool because when I called Sam Kaplan up. I was like, man, Sam, I want to talk to you. And he's like, hey, what's up, Rich? And I was like, I'm going to come out of retirement. He's like, really? And he's like, well, what's making you want to do that? And I told him, that I had sleeping disorder. And he's like, wow, Rich. He's like, I had a sleeping disorder as well. His was a little different than mine. But he told me that as soon as it got treated, like he dropped like 40 pounds. And like, he's like, my whole life was different. So like he completely understood what I was going through. And he's like, Rich, he's like 100%, you're back on board with us and we'd love you in a tournament and stuff. So I really appreciate that. And I thought that was a cool opportunity and, really cool of them as a promotion to respect the fact of kind of what I went through.
But that is neat. That's cool. Bellator to take care of you like that. And we're all going to be interested to see how this fight works out on September 27th. Thanks for coming on here at MMA Oddsbreaker, Rich, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Hey, thanks. See you guys later.